Chosen one, God declared a state of emergency for you. You have to act like a prepper. Jake Harlan was 34, living in a quiet suburb outside Boise, Idaho. He worked remote IT support, paid his bills on time, and spent most evenings watching football or scrolling through his phone. Nothing about his life screamed destiny, until the night it did. It started with a dream so vivid it felt like memory. He was standing in a vast golden field under a sky cracked open like broken glass. A voice, deep, calm, but carrying the weight of thunder, spoke directly into his mind. Jacob Harlan, I have chosen you. The world is entering a season of shaking. Systems will fail. Shadows will lengthen. I declare a state of emergency for your life alone. You must act like a prepper now, because what is coming cannot be stopped by governments, armies, or apps. Only the prepared will stand. Jake woke up soaked in sweat, heart hammering. He laughed it off at first. Too many late-night YouTube rabbit holes about end-times prophecies. But the voice didn't leave. It returned the next night, and the next. Each time clearer, each time more insistent. By the third night, he couldn't ignore it anymore. He sat on the edge of his bed at 3:17 a.m., staring at his reflection in the dark window, and whispered, "Okay, what do you want me to do?" The answer came like a checklist downloaded straight into his brain. Water, store it. Food that lasts. Shelter that holds. Skills that save. Faith that anchors. No timeline, no explanation of exactly what disaster was barreling toward humanity, just the command to prepare, and to prepare now. Jake started small. He bought a few cases of bottled water and stacked them in the garage. Then he ordered long shelf-life food, freeze-dried meals, rice, beans, canned goods. He felt ridiculous driving home from Costco with a cart full of number 10 cans like he was auditioning for some doomsday reality show. Neighbors waved, clueless. But the dreams kept coming. Flashes of empty grocery shelves, blackouts that stretched for weeks, cities quiet except for distant gunfire, people desperate, and always in the background, the same voice. This is not punishment. This is protection. For you, for those I will send to you. He upgraded. Solar panels on the roof, small ones at first, a generator, a wood stove he installed himself after watching dozens of tutorials. He learned how to purify water, grow potatoes in buckets, build a Faraday cage for his electronics. He bought a rifle he hoped he'd never use and practiced at the range until his groupings tightened. Friends noticed. "You going full prepper now, man?" they teased over beers. Jake just smiled thinly, just being ready. Months passed. The news grew stranger. Supply chain warnings, rolling blackouts in California, cyber attacks on power grids in Europe. Nothing apocalyptic yet, but the edges were fraying. Then came the night everything changed. Jake woke to the sound of knocking, not on the front door, on the inside of his skull. The voice again, urgent this time. "Open the door, Jacob. They are here." He stumbled downstairs in his sweatpants. Through the peephole, he saw 3 figures on his porch, a young woman holding a sleeping child, an older man with a limp, and a teenage boy carrying a backpack like it weighed a ton. They looked exhausted, haunted. He opened the door before he could talk himself out of it. The woman spoke first. We were told to come here. A voice. It said, 'Go to the one I've prepared, the one in Boise.'" Jake stared. His mouth went dry. The older man nodded slowly. "Said you'd have food, water, a place." He stepped aside. "Come in." As they filed past him into the living room, he felt the weight of it all settle on his shoulders, not crushing, but steadying. The pantry he'd filled, the water barrels, the extra blankets, the spare room he'd quietly turned into a safe space. He didn't know what was coming next. Economic collapse, natural disaster, something spiritual that looked like chaos to the world. But he knew one thing now with bone-deep certainty. God hadn't declared a state of emergency on the world. He'd declared it on him. And for the first time in his life, Jake Harlan was ready. The chosen one didn't wear a cape. He wore cargo pants with extra pockets, kept his fuel cans full, and prayed every night that when the storm hit, he'd have enough to share. Jake Harlan turned 34 on a gray Tuesday in late March. He celebrated alone in his two-bedroom rental house on the outskirts of Boise, Idaho. Frozen pizza, a six-pack of IPA, and the Boise State Broncos game muted on the TV. His life was quiet, predictable, small. Remote tech support paid the mortgage, Netflix filled the evenings, and the most urgent decision he ever made was whether to upgrade to the premium streaming plan. That changed at 2:47 a.m. on his birthday night. He woke gasping, the sheets soaked. In the dream, he had been standing in an endless wheat field under a sky that looked shattered, golden light pouring through the cracks. A voice, neither male nor female, but ancient and certain, spoke inside his skull. "Jacob Harlan, I have chosen you. The world is entering a season of shaking. Systems will fail, shadows will lengthen. I declare a state of emergency for your life alone. You must act like a prepper now, because what is coming cannot be stopped by governments, armies, or apps. Only the prepared will stand." Jake sat up, heart slamming against his ribs. He laughed it off at first, too many late-night YouTube rabbit holes about end times prophecies. But the voice didn't leave. It returned the next night, and the next. Each time clearer, each time more insistent. By the third night, he couldn't ignore it anymore. He sat on the edge of his bed at 3:17 a.m., staring at his reflection in the dark window, and whispered, "Okay, what do you want me to do?" The answer came like a checklist downloaded straight into his brain. Water, 1 gallon per person, per day, minimum 90 days, more if possible. Food, 2,000 calories per day per person. Long-term, rice, beans, oats, wheat, freeze-dried meals, canned meat, vegetables, fruit. Rotate stock. Energy, solar, generator, fuel, wood. Security, firearm, ammo, training, non-lethal options. Medical, first aid, antibiotics if possible, chronic meds. Knowledge, gardening, water purification, basic mechanics, first aid, foraging. Spirit, daily prayer, scripture, gratitude. No dramatic deadline. No, the end comes in 18 months. Just start now. Jake started the next morning. First trip to Costco felt absurd. He loaded 2 carts, 40 cases of bottled water, 12 big bags of rice, 8 of pinto beans, cases of tuna, chicken, vegetables, peanut butter. The cashier raised an eyebrow. Big family? Jake just shrugged, just like being ready. He turned the garage into a warehouse. Shelves from Home Depot, food-grade 5-gallon buckets, Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers. He labeled everything. He learned rotation dates, FIFO systems, how to vacuum seal. Week 2, water. He bought 55-gallon blue barrels, a siphon pump, bleach for purification. He dug out an old kiddie pool and tested a rain catch system off the gutters. Week 4, energy. 2 400-watt solar panels on the roof. He climbed up himself, cursing the whole time. A small inverter, a used 2,000-watt generator, and 10 cans of stabilized gas. He practiced starting it every Saturday. He joined a local gun range, bought a reliable AR-15 and a 9mm pistol, took classes, hated every second of it at first, then started grouping shots tighter than most of the weekend warriors. He planted a garden in the backyard, potatoes in old trash cans, tomatoes, beans, kale. He bought heirloom seeds and learned seed saving. He even started composting. Friends noticed. His buddy Ryan ribbed him over beers one night. "Dude, you're turning into one of those guys with 47 freeze-dried burritos in a bunker under the shed." Jake smiled thinly. "Maybe I just like being useful." The dreams kept coming, never terrifying, always instructional. One night he saw grocery stores with bare shelves, lines stretching around blocks, people fighting over the last loaf of bread. Another night he saw cities dark for weeks, only the prepared houses showing faint light from solar lamps or wood stoves. And always the voice, "This is not wrath, This is sifting the wheat from the chaff. You are not saving the world. You are saving the ones I send. Months turned into a year. The news began to echo the dreams in fragments. Cyber attacks crippling regional grids, fertilizer shortages driving food prices up 40%, a major port strike that lasted 47 days, whispers of banking instability. Jake upgraded again, a second-hand chest freezer in the garage, stocked with venison from a coworker who hunted, a Berkey water filter, a medical kit with trauma shears, tourniquets, antibiotics he'd quietly acquired through a sympathetic doctor friend. He even built a small Faraday cage in a metal trash can, laptops, radios, spare solar controllers inside. He prayed every night now. Not fancy prayers, just honest ones. If this is really you, keep me steady. If it's not, let me see it clearly. Either way, use me. Then came the night it all converged. It was late October, cold enough to see his breath. He woke to knocking, but not on the door, inside his head. Urgent, commanding. Open the door, Jacob. They are here. He pulled on sweatpants and a hoodie, heart pounding. Through the peephole, 3 figures on the porch under the weak yellow light. A woman in her late 20s, eyes hollow, clutching a 4-year-old girl who slept against her shoulder. An older man, maybe 60, with a cane and a faded army surplus jacket. A lanky teenage boy carrying 2 heavy backpacks, hood up, shivering. Jake hesitated 1 second, then he opened the door. The woman spoke first, voice cracked. "We were told to come here. A voice, God's voice, said, 'Go to the man I prepared, the one in Boise. He has what you need.'" The older man met Jake's eyes. "Said you'd have water, food, a place to rest. Said your name was Jacob." The teenager just stared, too tired to speak. Jake stepped back. "Come in, all of you." They shuffled inside. The little girl stirred, whimpered. Jake turned up the heat, grabbed blankets, poured water from one of the big blue barrels he kept in the kitchen. The woman, her name was Mara, explained in broken sentences. They'd driven from Portland after the grid went down in their neighborhood. No power for 9 days, stores empty, riots starting. Then the dreams started for her too, the same voice directing her here. Jake showed them the pantry, the shelves of food, the water. He heated soup on the camp stove. They ate like people who hadn't in days. Later, after the child was asleep on the couch and the others were resting in the spare room, Jake sat alone at the kitchen table, staring at his legal pad from 2 years ago, the one with the original list. He hadn't saved the world. He hadn't even saved a city. But 3 people were breathing easier tonight because he'd listened. The voice returned one last time that night, soft now. "Well done, son. This is only the beginning. More will come. Keep the door open. Keep the light on." Jake looked out the window at the dark street. Somewhere out there, the shaking was spreading. But here, in this ordinary house with solar panels on the roof and buckets of rice in the garage, a small outpost of readiness stood. He wasn't a prophet. He wasn't a hero. He was just a man who believed the quiet voice and acted like it mattered. And in the end, that was enough.